course of discussing movies, the host will spoil plots. You've been warned. Listen to their screams. Greetings, ghouls and creeps, and welcome to Listen to Their Screams, a horror podcast that feels like you're chatting with friends. I'm one of your friends, Dave. We're joined as always by your other friend, Ike. Ike, how are you?
Hey, I'm not doing too shabby, just, rocking and rolling. Although I did get a letter in the mail the other day. It said, I know what you did last summer, and that has
Oh,
me a little concerned.
yeah, okay. Well, just make sure they know I wasn't with you then. So, all right. Yeah, don't go near the docks. So, all right, and that brings us to what we're reviewing. We are reviewing I Know What You Did Last Summer. No, not the original. We're doing the new one. It's kind of confusing, but it's we'll talk about that in a little bit. Before we get there, Ike, did you watch anything else this week?
I actually did. I went on a weird little adventure with movies. Um, so it's kind of a weird, like, 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon type thing. So I watched the movie REC. It's a Spanish foreign language film.
Oh
It's
yeah,
about zombies.
yeah.
Um, it's pretty good, but they made it. They actually remade it in the States, and it was called Quarantine. So I watched REC and then Quarantine, and I was like, well, I want to watch another zombie movie. So I watched the movie. It goes by, like, it's either Zombie Flesh Eaters or it's just Zombie without an E. But it's like it's Lucio Fulci. It's the one where the zombie's like fighting a shark. Now, if you've ever seen that one.
No.
Okay, it's really good. It's like an old, not old, but it's from like the, I think, late '70s, early '80s. And then I watched the sequel to that movie. It's called Zombie 3. It's a whole confusing thing. Well, then I Lucio Fulci. I hope I'm saying that correctly. He also does like giallo movies, which I think we talked about it a few times. Like, there are some pretty popular giallo people, like I think it's Mario Bava and Dario Argento is a pretty big one. Um, so I was always wanted to, like, watch those movies. So someone on Reddit was like, "Hey, if you want to try a giallo movie, you can try an Americanized one that's called Alice, Sweet Alice." I don't know if you've ever seen that one, but it's really good.
I haven't seen it, but I've heard that name. Yeah.
And so I watched that one. I'm like, okay, let me watch some other giallo movies, and I watched Bay of Blood. It's by Mario Bava from 1972. This is actually the movie that inspired the people who made Friday the 13th to make that movie. Um, and then there's a kill in Bay of Blood where there's a couple, doing it on a bed, and they get stabbed, both of them at the same time, with a spear, and it goes through the bed. Kind of, it's basically the same kill from Friday the 13th Part One, where Kevin Bacon gets stabbed.
Oh yeah.
So I watched that one, and then I watched another one called Pieces. It's sort of like, it's also a giallo movie, but it's more slasher oriented. But it was pretty good. And something I learned is a lot of these giallo movies are dubbed over in English, so they're in a different language, and they have people dub it over in English, so the lips don't match up. But it's a lot of fun.
Oh, okay.
So that
Uh,
was my adventure this week.
all right. Well, that's good because I did not watch anything. Um, I'm too busy, so I didn't get to watch anything. All right then. Well, I guess that concludes that. Let's take a break, and when we come back, we will have our news, birthdays, and anniversaries. So stick around. Make sure you subscribe to Listen to Their Screams on your favorite podcast platform. Also, make sure you look us up on social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, TikTok, and Slasher. All you have to do is look up Listen to Screams. That is Listen, the number 2, and Screams, and you can find us there. Also, make sure you go and buy yourself a Listen to Their Screams t-shirt. You can find all of our shirts at tinyurl.com/Screams Shirts.
Spread the news. Spread the news. Spread the news. And welcome back with the news. All right, starting us off here. Shudder has given us some very good news. VHS Halloween will be premiering October 3rd. Obviously, Dave and I are huge, huge, huge fans of the VHS series. Shudder has been churning these out pretty much once a year, and they've always, always struck home. They've always been really good. And obviously, we love Halloween. We love Halloween themed things. So VHS Halloween is going to be amazing. I can already tell.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm just bring it on. I'm already in the Halloween spirit, and good to know. Here we go. We're getting some announcements for things coming out that time.
Hell yeah. But and continuing on the good news train, we have filming has begun on Evil Dead Burns, set to release in theaters on July 24th, 2026. It sucks that it's so far away, but I would rather them do it right. If it takes a little longer, that's okay. It's just as long as we get a good quality movie at the end of this, that's all that matters. Again, we're huge Evil Dead fans, so Dave and I are obviously both super pumped for this.
Yeah, me too. I have no clue what it's about,
No,
none whatsoever. But I loved Evil Dead Rise. Thought it was really great. So yeah, I'm looking forward to if it rose, now it's going to burn. So let's bring it on.
that's right. They kept the last one under wraps pretty good, so I have a feeling they'll do the same with this one. So we'll see. And jumping off to again, even more good news, just so much good news. Production kicks off in September for In a Violent Nature 2. So obviously, we had a whole review of In a Violent Nature. We had a wives rebuttal of In a Violent Nature. And we also
Yeah, go ahead.
We also interviewed Johnny Rye Barrett from In a Violent Nature as well. So we've had a lot of great In a Violent Nature content, or maybe not so great with Wise Rebuttal. That was stressful. But yeah, and I can't wait for the second one to come out. I really, really enjoyed that first one.
Yeah, me too. And I'm curious to see what they do with the second. If they kind of keep a similar format, if they'll try to change it up. Yeah, I'm curious to see what they do. But yeah, it'll be fun.
Absolutely. And we're going to jump now. This is some more good news, kind of. I'll hold reservation. But Callum Vinson has been cast as young Jason Voorhees in Crystal Lake. Vinson played Henry Collins, the president's youngest son, in the Chucky series. I did like him in the Chucky series. He was the one that kind of, Chucky sort of attached himself to this kid to get him into the White House. So he did a good job playing the kid. I do have some reservations on how they're going to do young Jason, simply because obviously there's going to have to be prosthetics because young Jason looks a little deformed. But yeah, so I'll be curious to see how they do that and how Callum Vinson is able to portray our famed future soon to be masked killer.
Yeah, yeah, I like him. I liked him in Chucky. I think he can pull off the look and this and that. I'm I'm more worried about the portrayal, how they portray it. If they, I mean, we don't need to humanize Jason too much. I'm afraid. Part of me is afraid. Is this going to be pre-drowning?
Yeah,
If it is, I don't want to see. I don't know, unless Jason's already kind of fucked in the head, and they show that he was already down this path. I don't want him to overhumanize him. So we'll see. We'll see what they do. So I don't know. I mean, I think it's a good cast, a good name. I'm more worried about the writing side of this and how it works, but so we'll see.
yeah, absolutely. So we will hold reservations, but until then, we have two streaming releases coming pretty soon here. Until Dawn is now available on Netflix, so you can go ahead and check this out on Netflix. Actually, speaking of Netflix, I recently changed to the ad tier just because I got tired of paying for the non-ad tier because, I mean, Netflix is hit or miss sometimes. And honestly, I'm normally the first person to say I hate ads with a passion, but they are livable for the moment. And perhaps I'm part of the problem. I'm giving in to the man. I'm letting them give me ads, but
Mm.
man, it's just so much cheaper.
Yeah, well, I don't. I'd rather have not have the ads. Monica will not do ads, so that just ain't happening no matter what. So, I don't know. I'm hit or miss. It depends on the ads. Depends on how much they have. I mean, I watch Tubi and stuff and deal with the ads, but
Right.
If my preference, excuse me, I'd rather not have them. But Monica absolutely will not. She will not do ads. If there's an option, she just won't do it.
Understandable. But in any case, check out Until Dawn on Netflix. Hopefully they do more. I think that they've opened it up for more movies. And we also have a whole review about this movie. So
Mhm.
make sure you check that out too. But all right. One more little thing of news. Clown in a Cornfield is coming to Shudder on August 8th. This was a Clown in a Cornfield, it was a production of Shudder. So this was something we got to see in theaters that had the fun little Shudder before it. Um, love that. Love that sound. Honestly, if I could change my ringtone to that, which, obviously iPhones are notoriously bad for like being able to do that, as far as I remember. But if I could change my ringtone, that'd be like top of the list. I love that sound. But yeah, Shudder, great streaming service. AMC Plus is now combined with that. So if you guys want to check it out, you can check it out there. We have a whole review on it, generally positive reviews. I had some reservations, of course, because I read the book, so I had to be a little snobby. But generally positive reviews from Dave and I, so it's worth a watch for free if you have the subscription, of course.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm actually looking forward to watching it again because I feel it just feels like it's been forever. It's just
It does.
the way time passes nowadays, I guess, but the sense of time. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to watching it again.
Yeah, absolutely. So good stuff. We're going to jump to, we have a couple of birthdays. July 26, 1928, we have Stanley Kubrick, who directed The Shining, A Clockwork Orange, in 2001, A Space Odyssey. Kubrick is a pretty iconic, filmmaker, has definitely made his mark on the industry. And, I think even today, a lot of his films do still hold up to some degree. And, yeah, I mean, you can't really say that for a lot of these folks, but Kubrick is definitely up there.
Yeah, I mean, even if that's the only three movies he did, that's pretty impressive.
It is. Very good. But so happy birthday, and of course, in memory for people who are not aware, we lost our friend Kubrick back in '99. So, you know,
Our friend Kubrick.
that's right. But
Sounds like an '80s sitcom.
it does. I'm pretty sure there is like my our friend. There is a movie called like Our Friend Something. I can't remember what it is now, but
Probably, yeah.
in any case, we're going to jump to July 29th of 1980, so a little bit further in the future. We have Rachel Miner, who is a alum of the supernatural variety. She played Ruby, or one of the versions of Ruby, and
She played Meg.
oh, she Meg. Oh, I always get
Yeah,
those two mixed up. I don't know why. What now? Which one's Ruby? Who played Ruby? Remind me.
that was Genevieve
That's
Padalecki's
right.
wife.
That's right.
She
Yep.
was she was
You
the
got it.
second Ruby, and what's her name? Oh, I can't remember her name. Shoot, I can't remember her name. She was in Arrow, and she was in I think was she in Freddy versus Jason?
Oh,
She played the first Ruby. I can't think of her name though. I'm shooting a complete blank.
is it? Oh, it's Katie
Yeah, Katie
Cassidy.
Cassidy. She played the first Ruby. Yeah, and then Genevieve, I think her name was Cortez. Now it's Padalecki. She played the second Ruby, and then oh, I can't remember the name of the girl that played the first Meg. She passed away not too long ago.
Yeah, Nikki
Uh,
Acox.
Nikki Acox. Yeah, she played the first Meg, and then Rachel Miner played the second Meg.
That's right. Yeah, I always get Meg and Ruby confused in my brain. It's always too close together. I mean, they're both demons that possess multiple people, so I guess it's not like
Mhm.
terribly off there. Um, Fun fact: Rachel Miner actually has MS, and the reason that's important is that our my wife Kayla has MS too, and I always think it's interesting to see people who still act, and who have that. So it's very cool to see.
Yeah,
That's completely off topic.
they worked around a lot of things with her to help her out and keep her active. Um, there was a scene in one episode where Cass spins her, grabs her and throws her around and kisses her. She couldn't
Mhm.
do that. She couldn't do that. So literally, she stood on Misha's feet, and Misha Collins did all the work so that they could do that scene. And that's why if you see her later in the series, she's pretty much almost exclusively sitting.
Yeah,
Because she plays the empty as well there towards the end because the empty takes the form of Meg. and that's why she's almost pretty much exclusively sitting in those scenes. And then there was also the whole thing where she wanted to do was planning to do a or there was some kind of marathon for MS benefit for MS or something, and like pretty much all the cast, like Ackles, Padalecki, Collins, there may have been others, I don't know. They all ran in it, but they also took turns and pushed her in a wheelchair and during the run so that she could do it. So,
Wow.
so yeah, they were
That's
all
actually
they were all very very supportive and helped keep her working and everything else. And then and of course now she's done a lot of conventions appearances, and there's times where she can't travel, and they will actually still book her for convention appearances via remote like Zoom. She'll do panels and things via that. They still book her lots of times and things like that, just to be able to keep her in touch and things like that. They're very supportive, and she still does work here and there. I mean, but again, she's very limited in what she can do now.
right. Wow. That's awesome. I
She's
mean,
but
that
she's
doesn't
done
surprise me that
Yeah, she's done lots of things. Of course, I mean, I tout her for Supernatural because most people know that she's also was once married to Macaulay Culkin when they were very young.
I was gonna say for like
Yeah,
4 years, right?
yeah, that's how most people know Rachel Miner, but or maybe not most, but a lot of people.
I mean, that could have been in of itself horrifying, especially in the '90s. I don't think, I love Macaulay Culkin, but man, he was probably really rough at that point. I think that was probably the height of his
Yeah,
addiction and everything else that the 2000s was.
yeah, self-admitted, but I mean, he's awesome now. I mean, he's like turned into like America's dad now. He's just he's so cool now, and I love how he just pops up and does weird shit and doesn't even give two fucks. Just
Crazy, but very good. Happy birthday to Rachel, and of course, I mean that's wonderful. You were telling me that story about him, her, and Misha. And, I mean, it sounds like a very Misha Collins thing to do. I mean, he's a gentleman.
yeah, I mean,
So
they completely. She was like, I don't know if I can do this scene, and me, she's like, don't worry about it, I got it. And I mean,
that's
he did like I believe if I'm getting my story straight, he did whether he picked her up or whatever it was, he physically did the all of it because it was only like a waist that you couldn't see, it was like we're in it, you wouldn't know the difference, but he did all the work, and so that they could do the scene even when she wasn't capable, so she didn't get frustrated and didn't feel guilty for holding up things or changing things. And but even that though, the writers, like I said, I know we're getting off and rambling on this, but I think it's a pretty cool thing. I mean, the writers worked as long as they absolutely could while she could really kind of semi regularly work. Just all they had to do was they altered stuff, right? They just made it where she could sit and just did things like that. It wasn't that big, that hard for them to do, but they just made sure they accommodated her so she could still play, even after Meg died. And they, like I said, they brought her back to play the empty, taking on her version, her form. And because everybody loved her so much, and they wanted to use her, they wanted her around. So
that's awesome. I knew there was a
it's
reason I like the Supernatural
I mean,
people.
well, it's one of the reasons. I mean, it's just one of the reasons that I love that show, because it's like every guest star you hear are like, we have never been on a show like this, right? They're like a family. And if you're a guest star, they don't treat you like an outsider.
Yeah.
I mean, like literally almost every guest star would say like first night in or whatever. It's like Jared and Jensen would take them out for a drink or take them out for dinner or just things like that, and when you do intimate type scenes, right? You have intimate coaches and you have things, and it can be uncomfortable and things like that. And like Jensen and Jared were always very much, hey, the female calls she drives this. Whatever she can do, that's what she does. If she's not comfortable, then we don't do it. And they were very, every right up to time to shooting, they'll be like, "Are you sure you're good? If you're not, this is my show. I'll stop it." And I mean, it's all kinds of things like that, right? I mean, they're they're very. I mean, Padalecki went through some serious depression one time during the season. I mean, like almost debilitating, where he was having trouble getting to set and getting through things. And during that time, Ackles, whether he had to be on set or not, would go get Padalecki from his trailer, walk with him, and it would stay just off camera, even if he didn't have to be there for the shoot. Would stay off camera so that he could support Padalecki and be there for him to focus in on and help him through it. And I mean, that's a lot of long days that he didn't have to be on set. Sometimes, when it's just Padalecki scenes, but Ackles was there and did it, and just to help him out. And the same thing, right? He would tell Padalecki, if you don't want to do it, we won't do it. We'll just cancel shooting for the day. No big deal. Or we'll readjust things. If you can't do it, you give the word. And I mean, what are they going to do? It's the show's built around those two. That's what Ackles would tell him. It's, hey, we don't like to pull these cards, but if you can't do it, we won't do it. And but he got him through it. And they're I don't know. It's a very, very close cast. And
No, absolutely.
and everybody talks about how great those two were. And I mean, and Misha and Shepard and all of them, but everybody talks about, Padalecki and Ackles so much. And it's just one of the reasons I love the show even more, because it's again, we say it all the time, it doesn't take much to be a decent person. And I mean, these guys are successful and made lots of money and are known by millions, and they're still just very, very humble people.
They absolutely are.
So sorry, I know we've rambled a lot about that. So
No,
got stuck up on it, but I could talk about Supernatural for hours.
I was going to say we're both huge fans of Supernatural, and obviously we love, like, I mean, it also, it's like, it's, we have some form of platform here, and we like to platform the people who we think are decent human beings, and they just happen to be people from Supernatural a lot of the time.
Absolutely. I mean, I know we share a lot of birthdays from Supernatural, and it's I don't know, it's because I like them. And and again, I mean, Supernatural. I think some people shy away because they think, oh, it's a CW show. Yeah, it's not like a CW show. And if you watch the show, there's some stuff where it makes you wonder, how did they get that on air? Because there are sometimes some better effects and let's be frank, there's some gorier scenes in some modern horror movies that were in that show. And so, I don't care what you say, it's a horror show, and it was on for 15 years. I mean, that's monumental. So
Listen, I get people's reservation with the whole CW thing because they have put out some stinkers, but, like, for instance, like you said, Supernatural CW show, the Vampire Diaries was a CW show, but the Vampire Diaries, they were literally ripping people's hearts out and they were cutting heads off. And we're watching a show right now called The 100. It's not particularly horror; it's more sci-fi, if anything. But, like, literally, they just, like, in one of the last episodes I watched, it was a CW show, and they just straight up executed a guy, bullet to the brain, like, full on, like, they didn't even try and hide it. It was.
I've heard
interviews.
Like, holy shit. I've heard interviews with people, and they said, hey, we would do what we thought was in the realms. We might push it just a little further, and we'd send it in. And they didn't send it back and reject it, so they're like, fine, that's our standard now. We'll do that. And so. But again, I mean, I there are some stinkers in that show. There's some episodes that aren't that great, but it's 15. I mean, we're talking 15 years, and there's a lot of horror elements, a lot of monsters, I mean, I don't know. If you like horror, I think people, I don't know why people wouldn't like it. I think people just, again, shy away. They think there's a stigma with it, or some people do, but I don't know. Anybody that has watched it, I mean, besides, dude, Ackles and Padalecki aren't bad to look at.
Nope, they certainly aren't. But all right, enough Supernatural. I'm sure.
Yeah, sorry.
Some again, but it happens. All right, jumping now to some upcoming movie anniversaries. We got a few here, so let's roll. July 24th, 2009. We have Orphan. Orphan's great. It was one of those movies where you kind of, I feel like it's slept on a lot. I feel like going back in the in the reaches of my mind, I remember watching it and I rewatched it a few times, and it's great. They even got a sequel to it, and they've talked about making more. So yeah, I mean, I'll definitely check it out if they put it out.
Yeah, and it's still a trip to me that she can play that character, and it's wild. But yeah, I like Orphan.
No, absolutely. Because she was super young with the first one, and with the second one, I mean, she's pretty short statured, from what I understand. So they were able to use like a little bit of CGI and some camera work, and they were able to make it work. So, hey, if it works, it works.
It looks good.
But that's right. So moving on to July 25th, 1986, Maximum Overdrive. This one's it's kind of a cheesy, goofy movie in my opinion. It's a Stephen King movie, but it's fun, and that's what's always important is
It is.
does the
I
best
like
do the
it.
best.
I think it's a blast. It's the truck's iconic. Yeah, it's a cheesy concept and everything, but I mean, come on, how many horror movies that are held in high esteem are not at their core cheesy? But I like it. I think it's fun.
Absolutely, love some Maximum Overdrive. We're gonna jump to July 27th, 1979, The Amityville Horror. The Amityville Horror has had many iterations over the years, even one including Ryan Reynolds, where he is shirtless in the rain. Um, I'm just saying, it's a very prominent part of that movie.
Very crucial to the storyline.
Absolutely. But yeah, Ryan Reynolds had his remake from years later. There were a bunch of sequels and attempts at rebooting that franchise. I'm sure we'll get one eventually. But yeah, I mean, the Amityville Horror is great. The original is fantastic. It's pretty seminal as far as haunting movies go.
It is very iconic movie, and yeah, I mean, to me, it holds up. I think it's just as good as it ever was. So,
Absolutely, very good. Now we're going to jump to another cheesy movie.
yeah, national
July
holiday.
That's right. July 28th, 1989, Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. Oh boy, this one's a good one. Jason Takes Manhattan is one of those movies that you just watch for fun. You don't look at it through a critical eye. It is just a fun, just good time movie. Watch, Jason get boxed on top of a rooftop. It's always a good time.
That's right. Lots of time on the ship, very little time in actual Manhattan, but it's all worth it just to see Jason standing in Times Square for that little bit. It's epic.
It really is. Even though the rest of it was shot in Canada, it was close enough. But so moving on to the same day, just a mere 34 years later, Talk to Me, July 20th, 2023. Won't get into it too much because we did obviously review this movie in its entirety. The Philippou brothers have gone on to make other movies outside of Talk to Me, such as the one that we just watched. I cannot remember what it's called now. We just talked about it not too long ago. It's the one where with the knife scene in the beginning. Crap, I don't remember what it's called, but it's a good one.
Knife scene in the beginning? What?
Yeah, we talked about it not so long ago. I'm gonna have to look it up now. Where the kid has a knife and stabs himself in the face, or he's chewing on the knife.
Oh yeah, what was that? Dude, you had to bring that one up. God, that scene, man, disturbed me. What was that
Bring
movie?
Her Back.
Yeah, Bring Her Back. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Whew. Yeah, that's made by the same people they Talk to Me, which makes sense. I mean, the scene in Talk to Me where like the kid's like slamming his head on the table. That scene is always just gets to me a little bit.
Yeah, I like Talk to Me. I mean, I think it's a fun movie. I highly advise people to give it a watch, and if you've already seen it, give it a rewatch. I think it's one of the better movies made in the last few years.
I would agree. I think it's very, very, very good, and I'm pretty sure it ranked pretty highly in our 2023 rating, at least top 5, I'd imagine.
Sure, probably.
But we do have a full review in the archive, so make sure you guys go check that out. And we're going to move on now to July 29th, 1988, Monkey Shines. I have never seen this film. So, Dave, tell us about Monkey Shines.
Pretty creepy. I think it's got, how you say his name? Jason Bigg from Chicago PD in it. And basically he's, I don't know the proper term. He's physically handicapped, right? I don't know if he's a paraplegic completely. I don't know. I can't remember the detail, but he basically gets a trained monkey to assist him with things. And it just does not go well. it goes afoul. So
Usually does.
shenanigans ensue.
Oh Lord, nothing can go right with a pet monkey, but very good. We're going to move on now to some upcoming releases. We got three of them. We have Bambi: The Reckoning is coming to limited theaters on July 25th. And the Pooniverse movie is described as after a mother and son get in a car wreck, they soon become hunted by Bambi, a mutated, grief-stricken deer on a deadly rampage, seeking revenge for the mother or for the death of his mother. So this, of course, is exactly what it sounds like. It is another public domain horror movie, Bambi: The Reckoning. Dave and I are really excited about this. This is something that we kind of saw a glimpse of back with Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 2. I believe there was a small teaser before the movie, depending on where you went. Because I think the directors were talking about the Pooniverse and some future projects, and I'm super excited for Bambi: The Reckoning.
Yeah, me too. And I have reached out to get a screener link. They did respond about send me a link to your podcast, and I sent that, and I've not heard back. Fingers crossed, maybe we might still get a screener link pretty soon. If so, if we get it like in the very near future, this will probably be what we review next episode. If we don't, we're not entirely sure yet. So stand by for that. Watch social media for that, but I don't know.
Very good. But we'll have to keep an eye out because, like you said, we were going to try and watch in theaters too, but it's just either there's no showings because it's a very limited release, or I think one of the theaters here is showing it, but they're only showing it like on a weekday, like after like 8 p.m. or something like that. And just quite frankly, I am now too old to go out past 8 p.m. on a weekday. So that's just be how it is.
That's right.
But in any case, we'll keep an eye out for that, and hopefully we'll have that review for you next week. Moving on to Shaman from the executive director of Talk to Me. Hey, we'll come to select theaters and on digital on August 8th. It is described as a missionary converting an indigenous community in a remote Ecuadorian volcano must come to terms with her own faith when her son is possessed by dark forces. That's quite the situation to put yourself into. Missionary in a indigenous community in a Ecuadorian volcano. It's like someone did Mad Libs. But yeah, absolutely. I'll check this out. It could be good. Who knows?
Yeah, I think it sounds good. And just goes to show, man, just if they're remote and they're isolated, that's the way they'd like to be. That's the way they're going to be. People should just leave them alone. That shit never turns out well.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're never a good idea to impose on those areas. But
I mean, how many stories has there been of that? Right, missionaries go in and first encounter these this tribe of people, and next thing you know, boats offshore are seeing stakes on the beach with their heads on them. I mean, it's just come on, guys, it's logic.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen like The Green Inferno, which is a horror movie pretty much about that. And then, there's obviously like the North Sentinel Islands and stuff like that, where there are, communities who are not contacted by the outside world for reasons. And so, perhaps not the best idea, but, pop off.
Damn missionaries.
Damn it. But very good. Hopefully we'll get to check that out on August 8th. But until then, we have one more upcoming release a little farther in the future. Osgood Perkins' Keeper is coming to theaters on November 14th. There is no description of this movie yet. I mean, I like Osgood Perkins. He's made some good shit. He was part of the team that brought us where it's drawing a blank on there. Long Legs, that's what it was.
Yeah,
brought us Long Legs and The Monkey. So, hey, I think it's, probably a good thing that he's making another movie. But at the same time, no description typically means not ready yet, and it could get delayed. So we'll see if it comes out in November.
Yeah, and the thing is this, though. With no description, not much detail, there's very few filmmakers that would be enough to say, okay, I'm still excited, and he's one of them. So even as we stand right now, it's like, oh, I want to see it. I don't care. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing a little more about it and seeing what it is. And hopefully he delivers another winner.
Absolutely. Very good. But I think that will do it for our news, birthdays, anniversaries, and upcoming releases. We talked a lot about Supernatural here during this time, so that's just how it be. But
Yep.
we'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we will have our official review of I Know What You Did Last Summer. So stick around.
Hey, Bruiser buddies, I want you to listen to Wrestling Nostalgia with Dave Dynasty. Every week, he has the roughest and toughest interviews in the podcast world today, with the best guests you could ask for. There's no bums on this show. Let Dave Dynasty be your podcasting tag team partner and listen to Wrestling Nostalgia while drinking beer, smoking cigars, and busting heads. Just look it up on your favorite podcast platform and subscribe today, because the Bruiser said so.
Hey ho, everybody. Subscribe to the Pinhead Pod, the Ramones fan podcast, bringing you interviews, news, deep dives, and much more. Look it up on your favorite podcast platform. That is Pinhead Pod.
All right. And we're back here on Listen to Their Screams. We're chugging along. It is review time. And we are reviewing I Know What You Did Last Summer, written by Jennifer Caton Robinson, Sam Lansky, and Leah Kendrick, based on characters and the story written by Lois Duncan. And it is directed by Jennifer Caton Robinson, starring Madeline Klein, Jonah Howard King, Jennifer Love Hewitt, Freddie Prinze Jr., and others. So many others. Just many, many others. This movie was released July 18th in theaters, and it did gross $12,755,359 domestically on opening weekend. Good for number 3. I don't know. That's a little. I don't know what they were anticipating. 12 million is probably not as high as they'd hoped. The number 3 that is behind Superman and Jurassic World Rebirth, so that's kind of a watch. That's kind of probably the best you're going to do. It's going to be hard to knock those two down a spot. So I don't know. I mean, 12 million. We'll see. We'll see if it holds. It still keeps drawing well, but I think 12 million probably was a little lower than they would have hoped. But if it keeps strong, it'll be all right. So, and this movie, yeah. I was super excited for this, and I don't think it was bad. But my problem is recently having watched all the original 3 and now this. My biggest problem is they feel so similar, all of them. And the first one is I really, really love. The second one is a little original because there's that they win the trip, they go to this island, so it's a little different. But then the third one is that typical. It almost feels like that the retcon requel type movie where it's like almost a blueprint of the first one, and they just changed it up a little bit. And they did, mention the first one, so it's not a remake, but this one there's again a lot of similarities, and I understand, right? That's the concept. So when it was going for a while, I was kind of like, this is okay, but it's like, it was kind of, I don't want to say boring me, but it was kind of just like, and it did pick up. And I do really think the hook about the killer and everything else I thought was really good. Because that's often a very tricky thing. And we've said this about some of the recent Screams, that it's almost like they were afraid to really commit to something impactful, right? And they were kind of beating around the bush a little bit with the killers. I will tell you, I don't want to say anything really, but this movie, they weren't afraid to swing big, and no. and it was an impactful hook. I liked it. I thought it made sense within the story. I thought it was very logical. I mean, that's not a word you say much. I see it, right? It was like one of those things where it wasn't a stretch for me to believe it. So I thought there for a while the movie was dragging a little bit. Then it very much picked up. It finished very, very strong. Very strong. There is a credit scene, which was pretty damn cool. So if you haven't watched it, make sure you watch that. Does lead us to believe that there's hoping to do another. Actually, I did see a bit of an interview with Jennifer Caton Robinson. She already has in mind what the next one will be, what she wants to do. So hopefully that's why I say this 12 million. Hopefully they stay strong so she does get the chance to do another. Um, so I thought I thought it was pretty fun. Again, I was at first, like I said, I don't know, whatever, a half or a little more through it. I thought it's not bad, but I thought it's not what I was hoping. I was really hoping to, it'd be a little more impressive, but then it did. It's like it kicked in for that third act and hooked me back in. Actually, hooked me more than any of the rest of the movie did. I don't want to say it was necessarily like a slow burn because that's not what it was. I just think, and it's almost a lot of times it's doesn't happen. I really think they saved the best for the finish, and it's kind of refreshing for movies nowadays almost because so many times we watch a movie and it just doesn't feel like they finished very strong, and it's just like everything keeps monotone through the whole thing, and this one kind of built you along, and then it just like it really I think gave you that knockout finish, at least in my eyes. So I was impressed with that, and to me, made the movie better than what I was thought it was happening there for a while. Um, the new cast was okay. Then the new characters, I mean, I don't think there was a whole lot there to differentiate them between what was happening in the old movies. To me the legacy characters really, getting to see Jennifer Love Hewitt on the screen, and Freddie Prinze Jr. on screen. There were some little callbacks here and there and things like that. That to me really made the movie. And I thought it was a lot better. No disrespect to the new characters and those actors or actresses, but I don't know. It's almost like you took the original gang and you had the one guy who didn't want to deal with it, right? He was just like, this is what it is, just leave me alone. And I don't know. So it's just like they were doing that. It felt like, and that's what I was afraid was happening. It was like, oh, they just taken the blueprint and remade it. And but then they didn't. So bravo to them for the finish. Made the movie for me. Kind of redeemed the movie for me actually, because I was feeling disappointed until it got to that part, and there was definitely enough there that made me completely forget that. So, Ike, tell me what you thought about it.
Well, I do agree with most of what you said. I do think that basically I guess when they made this movie, they said, okay, we're just going to kind of like pop off in the third act. And I kind of foresaw there were multiple people involved with what was happening in this movie. And I guessed one of them, which was pretty obvious, I felt like. The other person, one of the people was not very obvious.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Just throw that out there. But, I think that one of the big things this movie was trying to do is trying to bring I Know What You Did Last Summer into the 21st century in a legitimate way. There were a few movies, right? You had the first two movies, and then you actually had a third, I Know What You Did Last Summer. I think it was like I Always Know What You Did Last Summer or some shit like that.
I think I really know what you did last summer. I think is what I think, and I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure. I mean, there's nothing in that movie that they would have to worry about or call back to, because it literally had nobody from the first two movies in it. They did mention them. They did mention the happenings of the first two movies, so they didn't ignore that it wasn't that they happened. Right? That they acknowledged it, but there's just not it. It wasn't that great. It was really it's one of those movies where it's like you can ignore it without having to ignore it because it doesn't matter. There's nothing that happened in that third movie to impact the overall storyline of this franchise.
Yeah, as I recall, because I don't know if I've ever watched it, but yeah, it was a straight to video release, and I'm pretty sure it had like a supernatural aspect to it. It wasn't even
it was weird. Yeah, it was wacky.
Right. So, but we did have the I Know What You Did Last Summer TV show that was on Prime, I think.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
So, I think they can pretty much ignore that too. I don't really know what all that contained.
Yeah, I've not seen that. I have no clue what that is.
So, the kind of long and short of it to me is that they really found a way to bring the I Know What You Did Last Summer series into the new, into this new decade, new, century, whatever the hell you want to call it. And I think that they did a really good job of, bringing it to the current forefront of everyone's mind. I think it's important that they did that because it's a great property. I Know What You Did Last Summer was a great property from the 90s that really, I think, stood out, for its time. And I think this movie did a really good job of giving that to a new generation of people. The character, the Hookman character is a very memorable and frightening character. And I think that with the post credits scene that they provide us, it does open up the ability for future content in the universe. But like you kind of mentioned, the movie in of itself, the big issue for me was primarily that I think that it was definitely trying to appeal to a younger demographic than my own, which is kind of weird because like I'm not that demographic anymore. I'm almost 30 years old, so this was more directed towards like the early 20s, I think, and it's weird to make that make that discretion there because a lot of the lingo they're using is lingo that I'm not familiar with. Now I could just be lame, but
Yeah.
they were using lingo that I wasn't super familiar with. Now that didn't take away from the movie; it just made me aware that this was perhaps not marketed for me specifically. But it was still an enjoyable movie. It still brought that fun slasher feel to it. It did not take itself too seriously, and it made a very nice, cohesive, story. And like we said, the third act was truly remarkable because it really brought everything to a head. But it really cashed in on like the fact that you can pretty much do whatever the fuck you want with a slasher. Like literally, you could do whatever the fuck you want with a slasher. You don't have to follow any rules. Slashers were made to bend the rules as much as possible and still provide you a movie. And I think that we're kind of circling back to that because I think for a time we kind of got away from the cheesy slashers of the 80s and 90s and even early 2000s, and they tried deconstructing slashers to try and make them smarter.
Yeah.
And those are good movies. Don't get me wrong. I love those movies. I love meta movies. I love smart slashers. I love it when we go that route. But I also like the fact that we're circling back to stupid slashers. And
But
that's what this movie is.
It is. But I will say, I still hold that the way they did this and the story that they wrote for this, I still say was logical and made more sense than a lot of slasher sequels.
Oh, absolutely.
They didn't try to they didn't try to over convolute it. They gave a very simple, believable reasoning for what happened in the movie that worked. I thought it worked. I don't know. I mean, there's always a little leap of faith, right? There's always but the thing is, you can always rationalize in your head because people do bad stuff all the time for weird reasons. All the time. It happens in real life. And but again, the best villains are the ones where you can sit there and think, okay, they believe what they're doing is that they're the right, they're the good, that what they're doing is the right thing. And I really feel like they got into that a little bit, that the reasoning is very there could be an argument made is okay. Maybe you wouldn't react the same way, but I can see the reasoning for pissing somebody off. Why the reason he pissed somebody off. You know what I mean? And then then there's that differential, right? What path do you want to go though? How most people would handle this and how it's so I still think it was cleverly done because again, they didn't try to overdo it. They didn't try to give you 5,000 reasons and throw in everything in the history of this franchise to explain why they were doing this. They just said, okay, this makes sense. Let's just do this. And they weren't afraid to try it and take the swing. And I think that's missing from a lot of movies. And that's why I say I think it felt very refreshing because it felt like, we regained something that had been lost.
No, absolutely. I would 100% agree. I think to kind of add to what you said, because that you can still be clever but still be like, I mean, I don't want to say stupid, because it's not stupid. It's
No.
just,
It's
I'm
simple though.
trying. I think simple would probably be the better way to say it. It's not
Yeah,
stupid. It's not complex. They're not
nah.
overcomplicating the thought process.
Mm-mm.
I mean, slashers don't need to be complicated.
Nope.
I mean, it is quite literally a guy going around killing people, and this one didn't really have one of the best things. And I'm not going to, obviously, no spoilers, but one of the best things about this movie is that there is a scene where the quote unquote, the killer here gets to kind of explain why they're doing it. And like, it's very easy. You know what I mean? There's no complex, like, here, there, everywhere. It's just, hey, I'm doing it because of this reason. And I think that's really, you know, clever, simple slashers are I won't say that I prefer them over smart slashers, because I do see them as equal. But like you said, it is refreshing to kind of come full circle back to simplicity, because this is where it began. You know what I mean?
And
Halloween '78 was simple. You know
yep,
what I mean?
yep.
It wasn't some super complex thing. It was just a
And
kid with a knife got fucked up and started killing people.
and we've said it a million times. But when we talked about certain movies, it doesn't always have to be over explained. There doesn't always have to be some huge magical reasoning. Sometimes there didn't have to be a reason. Sometimes it's okay just to say this is. Um, but sometimes when there's just a natural answer there, a natural reasoning, even if it's simple, it's okay. That's fine. Because again, and what you talked about, when this character got to explain themselves, it was that same that what makes villains work. They explain themselves because they thought they were doing the right thing. They were totally like, I'm not the bad guy. I'm doing this because of this. It's their fault. And that's what I think makes it work. And because I don't want to say anymore, because again, though, even it's hard to explain. Even though the reasoning was simple, I don't want to say anything else. It was simple, but I think there was enough foundation to build on, where it's why it makes the simple solution makes sense. Without them having to spend 3 hours trying to drive it home. I'm not gonna say anything else, because
Absolutely.
I don't want to tip anything. I'm sure plenty of people have already ruined it for people, and I don't. I'm afraid. I'm so afraid that I'm going to say too much, and I don't want to. Again, let's just leave it at. I liked how they did it. I liked how it ended. I think if they had tried damn near anything else, let's be real, almost anything else, it probably wouldn't have worked, and I wouldn't have liked the movie as much. I think they would have lost the movie.
Yeah.
But because it finished strong, the movie felt whole, and it felt like you were building to something instead of just dabbling along just to fall off a cliff. It really felt like you were, in retrospect, it doesn't always feel like it necessarily as you're watching the movie, but to me, once you finish up, you're like, oh, okay, I've completed a journey here. I get it now. I get, I get why. And again, I bravo to them for not over convoluting the whole movie in retrospect, because they do it, especially with these, that the requels, or when they harken back, or you create a new sequel after so long. There's such a tendency to just overcrowd it, and then there was enough little tidbits and Easter eggs, and if you watch for it, and things things in there that just satisfy that for me, without having to shove everything in the face. Say, oh, did you see? Did you see that T-shirt? Oh, do you remember that T-shirt? Look at the T-shirt. Here it is again. Did you see the T-shirt? I mean, it's like, where they try to make it overly obvious. To me, it's just, it feels commercial. It feels more like marketing or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't feel like they did that. And then on a side note, I will have to say, just hats off to Jennifer Love Hewitt, because she has to, she's in 911. She didn't know if she wanted to come back and do this. And then, and then she did. And I don't know whether you have seen, right? She did the red carpet thing. And, Jennifer Love Hewitt's a little older. She's had children. And then, but there has been lots of hate online about her. And I'm like, you fucking idiots. I'm like, you say what Jennifer Love Hewitt's a beautiful woman. And if we could all age as gracefully as she did, we'd all be doing all right. And what I marvel at is the people that are throwing this hate. I guarantee you have not or will not age as well. So I just don't. I get it, because that just harkens back to some of the old sexism and ageism that women have tried to fight in Hollywood for so long, that you have to be this and you have to be this size or this that and once you are this age and once you cross those, you can't work. Bullshit. Fuck that. She killed it. She looks great. She's great in the 911 show. I haven't always been Jennifer Love Hewitt's biggest fan, because I always kind of felt her acting was a little one-dimensional. All that is completely derivative from her time on Party of Five. Not my favorite show. And I kind of thought she was a little flat in that. But as I rewatched this series, and I have seen her again on that 911 show, she's much more versatile than I gave her credit for. I will stand corrected. And I know she didn't give two shits because whatever, but it's I don't know.
I was gonna say I only know her from this, and she did a season of Criminal Minds.
Oh, that's right, and she was great in that too.
She was fantastic at Criminal Minds. Yes. I would say she was. I kind of missed her from like they did the reboot, and maybe now that she's kind of back in the swing of things, maybe she'll pop over to Criminal Minds for the next season.
Maybe. I think I held a lot against, because I hated Party of Five. I hated that show. I really, really hated it. And now in retrospect, the guy that played the father in it was a horrible human being. And I think did some, not to them, but has done some very bad things. I'm hoping I'm not confusing him with somebody else. I don't think I am. It just made me hate the show even all the more. So I just think because I hated that show so much, I lumped her in with it. And I just didn't, but again, that was also very early in her career. I don't know. I stand corrected. I think she's better than I ever gave her credit for. I don't think she's deserving of any whatever you want to call it, image shaming. That's ridiculous. That is beyond ridiculous. It's ridiculous for anybody, but Jennifer Love Hewitt especially. She's a beautiful woman. Always has been. And I don't know, fucking people are idiots. I get so worked up about shit like that. Like, everybody's got to fit a cookie cutter.
I'm trying to think. I was looking at the Party of Five people, and I don't know. I've never seen the show, so I couldn't tell you. Do you remember what the dad's name was in the show?
No. Well, is he the dad? Maybe I'm thinking of a different show that he was on. Because Party of Five, I thought the parents got killed, and then the Matthew Fox or whatever had to
Party of Five is 5 siblings raise each other following their parents' untimely death.
Okay, so that's maybe I'm getting this guy. I don't know what this other guy was off of. I don't know. Now I'm confused.
So basically, what I'm hearing is I didn't like Party of Five because I
didn't like Party of Five anyway. I didn't like Party of Five at all. Period. I didn't like it. I'm gonna be straight up frank. I judged a lot of people for that show. I judged Matthew Fox. I judged Nev Campbell. I judged Jennifer Love Hewitt. I don't know who else is in it. I don't remember the other people. Based on that show. Now, Nev Campbell, shook it for the Scream. She had that going. But there was lots of people. I hated that show. I really hated that show. Now I can't. Damn. Now I don't know what the other show is. Another show around that time, I think, that had what was it called? Fuck. Had a dad, I think it was a priest. And I don't know. I'll have to ask Monica. But I'm pretty sure this guy turned out to be a pretty big creep.
Gotcha.
Don't remember. It's not a show that I really watched a lot of, and I don't know why I fucking watched so much Party of Five. I think it was just everywhere. I really don't know why I'm talking about Party of Five so much. It's driving me mad that I can't think of this other show with this other guy. I'll think of it. I don't know. I'll let you know. And I'm hoping again. That's what when I said it, I was thinking, I was like, no, wait, that's not, is that right? Because Party of Five, the parents got killed. That's what the whole thing is, because these kids are like the oldest son was old enough to be their legal guardian, the Matthew Fox.
Okay.
So he got to just be the guardian for his siblings. So it was all about that, right? Because he's kind of, they've lost their parents. He's kind of in this fatherly role, but yet he's their brother, so there was this weird, dynamic, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. And I don't know. It didn't work for me. It was too melodrama, not my kind of show. So, I hated the show, still hate the show, but I did improperly lump all these people as this was just what they were instead of it was the show, right? I loved Matthew Fox in Lost. Of course, I loved Neve Campbell in Scream. All the Scream movies, I've liked, Jennifer Love Hewitt and pretty much everything she's done since. So it wasn't them, it was the show. So there you go. There's a public, you can all rest easy. Now your careers are fulfilled. Dave has gotten over it. There you go.
There you go. Well, I think we should rate this now that we've gotten that out of our system.
And I promise I won't rate it based on Party of Five.
I was going to say Party of Five is excluded from consideration
That's right.
in terms of ranking.
You don't want me rating Party of Five. There won't be any fives in it.
Nope.
So let's see. Again, I thought this was, I thought it was a fun movie. As I was watching it, that first part, it was going through my head. What am I going to rate this? This is not going to be rated very good. And then like I said, it came back strong. I think now I have to give it. I think I have to give it probably a 3.5 out of 5. I thought it was better than just that middle of the ground average. I don't think it was quite to a 4 level, but it was good. And I have to say, watching through it before that finish, I was thinking more the 2.5 range. So literally, the strong finish raised it pretty much a whole screen for me, in my eyes. And I think it completely turned the movie around and saved the movie, made the movie to me make a little more sense. It felt a little more cohesive. So I'm giving it a 3.5 out of 5. So Ike, what are you rating it?
I think I too would have to give it a 3.5 out of 5. When I was looking at the consideration for this, I would rate the original. I Know What You Did Last Summer. I'd probably give that about a 4.
Oh, me too. The first one, actually, the first two are both to me really, really good.
I like the second one, but I think I like this one better than the second one. I think if I had to rank them, it'd be like 1.
I don't know, maybe
2.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Because to me, the second one to me was very original. It didn't just completely play off the first one, and plus, it's got fucking dreadlock stoner Jack Black in it, which was just funnier than fuck. And so I don't know. But yeah, the first one though stands alone. It stands ahead of it. There's a reason that here we are all these years later with a new one or whatever. That first movie, again, and we've said it. To me, that's a very underappreciated time for horror movies. There's lots of movies from that time period that haven't got talked about, and hopefully now this will, like I said, that this will make people appreciate the original more, because I think the original is just an absolutely great movie.
Yeah, it really is, and it's like you said, it's super original considering that slashers had been being churned out for almost 25 years by the time 97 had rolled around. So, I mean,
it's very much a movie that to me, it's like not the same exact reasoning per se, but like the feel, the vibe, or whatever. It's almost like it evoked the same emotions and reasons that I like the first Scream. It's not the same concept, not the same way they do it, but to me, it just feels new. I mean, it's not like they completely broke the mold. I don't know. It just feels, maybe it's just that time period, it's just, I think it's a strong movie. And again, I like what the second one that they tried something different, but I can see why they didn't really get a really solid third one with everybody coming back, and it was a straight to DVD oddity. Because that third one's just not. It's not so good.
Funky.
It's not very good. And there's some people in that third one. That there was a few people, at least a couple people, that third one who were in some Supernatural episodes that I recognized and stuff like that. But it was just, it's like almost like that third one. It's like, if you've seen the first one, this is like what happens if you like somebody tried to leech off the success of the first one, and just it was almost like it's a very, very bad carbon copy that was like illegible. But yeah, it didn't work. But yeah, I think this newest one is a very strong addition to the franchise. Again, I wish it had come in a little stronger than 12 million. I wish maybe it had hit that 20 million just to be stronger, because I want to see another. I want to see what they can do for another now. Given that trailer scene, given how they finished this movie, I'd really like to see their ideas for another and what they would do with it. It's definitely got my interest. So I'm hoping this stays strong enough to warrant them getting the green light for another. I'm hoping it doesn't do 12 million and then just fall off like Megan did, because I know we're supposedly getting that spinoff, but I think the Megan franchise is kind of dead for a while. That the Megan 2.0 just it bombed for them. So now this one probably doesn't have quite the budget of Megan, right? There's not as many effects and things. So,
right.
So, but I'm hoping it holds strong. Again, though, it's when you're dealing with like Superman and Jurassic Park and Jurassic World. I mean, those are strong movies to be, battling. I mean, there's that, the Smurfs movie is out there. I know it, or that How to Train a Dragon. So there's kids movies. It's a strong market right now. To try to fight for those theater dollars. I mean, so 12 million is nothing to be ashamed of. I was hoping to be a little bit stronger to kind of lock down that next movie. So hopefully it lasts for a few weeks, of at least holding true. So,
sure.
So all right then. So we've rated it 3.5 between the two of us, and think it's a fun movie, well worth the watch. I can't wait. I can't wait for it to hit streaming to watch it again. I'm already looking forward to giving it a rewatch. And next episode, we just don't know what we're doing yet. We're going to be point blank. We don't know yet. We wanted to do Bambi the Reckoning. Can't go to the theaters to see it. It's just not happening. If we get, like I said earlier, if we get the screener link, we will still go ahead and do it. If not, we'll come up with something else, and everybody will know soon enough on social media when we announce it and determine what we're doing. I'm hoping we can pull off the screener link and we still get to do Bambi, because I'm very much looking forward to seeing Bambi. So stay tuned to see what we do next episode. So before we get out of here, we'd like to say thank you to our wives and then all the listeners and followers, all of you for the support. Be sure to subscribe to us on social media. We're on pretty much all the platforms. Just search for Listen to Their Screams or Listen, the number 2 and Screams. And again, it's very important right now, because again, if you want to know what we're doing next episode, before next episode, that's the place to see it. So before we close out of here, Ike, anything you want to add?
I'm not too much. I will say, I mean, this came up, I think, yesterday. I meant to actually mention earlier, but it's not exactly horror related. But Ozzy Osbourne unfortunately passed away recently.
It's horror enough. Ozzy. Now, let's be fair. He was in a movie or two. He was in oh god damn, what was that one? I can't think of it now. He was in the one. Gene Simmons was in it. It's the one that you can't.
Oh yeah.
You cannot find it on any streaming service. Oh God, why am I shooting a blank on this? Guys, I'm so bad right now with the shooting blank, because I have got so much stuff going on in my life right now that I'm just. I feel like my brain split 60 different ways, and I don't know why. I don't know why I'm shooting a blank on this.
It's Trick or Treat.
Trick or Treat, yeah, that's right. Trick or Treat. There you go. It's a fun movie. Ozzy plays, I think, an evangelist in it, which is pretty funny. So he's had some bit parts like that, and clearly though, Probably even more than that, right? I mean, his his music, between Black Sabbath and his solo stuff, it's there horror and metal go hand in hand, right? It's there's a lot. I'm not saying you have to like them both if you like one or the other, but there's a lot of horror movies, particularly slashers and things like that. Metal works for it, right? It fits. It's that vibe. But it's Ozzy. I don't know. I would dare say that musically speaking, there is something for Ozzy for everybody that has touched in one capacity or another, whether it be through Black Sabbath, whether it be something he's done solo or whatever. I think there's a little something for everybody, even if he's not your typical thing. More than anything else, so Ozzy has crossed into a new realm of pop culture between, the Osbourne show on MTV and uh, all the biting the heads off of bats and birds and doves and the Prince of Darkness thing and this and that and everything he's done. Right? He's mythical. He's a different level guy, and I'm a huge music guy, and Ozzy's he's at that peak. He's one of those that stand above everybody, and for good reason. He's a very talented guy. Knew he was very had a great eye for talent, right? I mean, he had some great band members, great guitarists that came through his band and everything else, and picked great guys to work with. Did lots of collaborations with different people that were smart and really worked, and so I mean, just super influential. I'm sorry, Black Sabbath's one of the best bands of all time. I love Black Sabbath, early Black Sabbath especially, right? There's so many of their songs wrote the blueprint for what would become quote unquote, hard rock heavy metal. And they were doing it at a time when that didn't exist. And, and again, he's just, everybody's got stories about Ozzy. Again, whether it's musical related, whether it's from the show, or what, I've got so many. I mean, I didn't watch the Osbournes religiously, but there was still things that I know from that show. There's like a scene where something was happening and he was sitting in a chair in the background and he just fell over backwards. That always cracked me up. I remember scenes from that show where he was chasing the little dog around the house because the dog has stolen his burrito. There's just so many things that were so funny to watch this quote unquote Prince of Darkness doing it. It's funny. But yeah, I mean, I think there's much like a lot of guys like Alice Cooper and Kiss and a lot of these kind of metal type bands, they fit. They have their place within horror, right? They have definitely influenced horror, definitely been a part. Definitely, they've had parts in a few movies. Definitely had bits on soundtracks. So yeah, I mean, it's he honest to God, we should have probably mentioned Ozzy's passing in the news, and it just kind of slipped the mind. It's important enough to have been in there. So yeah, so good call on bringing that up. And it's weird to think he's gone because it doesn't seem right. But then on the other hand, he was old and he was in bad health and everybody knew it. And it's just so wild because he just did that final concert a few weeks ago. And so it's almost like, yeah, he closed the book, did his thing, and that was it. And so it's just, I don't want to say it's not impactful because it's very impactful, but it's almost like it doesn't feel super shocking. It's hard to say. I don't want to say that to mean bad or disrespectful, but it's almost like, Ozzy lived a very long, full life, and it's not, and you knew he was in bad health and you knew this time was coming. It doesn't make it less important, doesn't make it, less surreal almost, but it's not like it's hard to describe. It sounds bad to say it's not surprising, but it's, because it's still a horrible thing, especially for, his family. And, he has grandkids and, there was pictures and videos of his grandkids there, in the sections of the crowd watching grandpa perform that last concert. And it's wild, to think of that side of him. So it's it's a whole different thing for them. So, so there you go. I rambled about Ozzy again. You brought Ozzy up, and it caused me to ramble again. But yeah, definitely rest in peace, good sir, and thank you. I've always been a big fan of Ozzy. I've listened to lots of his music. I've played his music in bands when I played. I'm a wrestling fan, and Black Sabbath. I mean, fucking, I was a big Road Warrior fan, and part of the Road Warrior package was those days was them coming out to Black Sabbath's Iron Man, and I mean, I don't know. I remember learning to play guitar, and my biggest accomplishment that I felt that I leveled up was learning that intro part of the Ozzy song "Crazy Train," because it's pretty complex. And when I could really play it, I thought, oh shit, I've leveled up. I've achieved something here. I'm not just a beginner anymore. It's things like that. So, I won't say I was the world's hugest Ozzy fan, but he definitely left an imprint on my life. So, so there you go. Thanks. You brought up Ozzy, and now got
to reminisce.
Got me rambling again. It is. It's very surreal to think he's gone though, because it's just fuck. I'm 50, almost 50 years old. I don't remember a time when there's no Ozzy, right? He precedes me. I mean, fuck, he was already a legend by the time I was born with Black Sabbath, and already getting ready, not far from his solo stuff. So it's just real. It's like one of those things. It's always been there, and then it's not. And it's odd. It's hard to rationalize in your head when stuff like that happens. So,
yeah.
All right. Well, that's what we're closing on. Goodbye, sweet Dark Prince. And everybody go and bite the head off a bat and turn up your favorite Ozzy or Black Sabbath song, and because you got to listen to it loud, and pour some out for Ozzy. And so all right, that's it. Let's get out of here. We've rambled on about Supernatural. We've rambled on about I don't know what else, Ozzy and everything else. I think we should close it up. So until next episode, we don't know what the hell we're doing. Probably rambling some more though. But sure. Until then, wherever you go, whatever you do, be good, be safe, and have many pleasant nightmares.